Good night, everyone. Welcome to In the Nest at Golden Eagle. So we're just gonna wait for everybody to sign in. It's such a pleasure. Again, my name is Ghenere, and we're gonna have so much fun tonight. I hope you all had a fabulous Sunday, super Sundays, as some of us may call it. Some of you all probably had a lot of rain, but that's okay. It could still be super with the rain. So tonight we're in the nest again, and tonight we're going to be interviewing the lovely Hema Ramkissoon. So we're going to be diving a lot of conversations, questions, fun answers, laughter, so much fun. So we're also going to have like a little open segment coming down to the ending where you as well can ask Hema some questions. So if you have some questions that you always wanted to ask her, advice for anything or tips for anything, feel free. So we just wait for everyone, some more people to sign in and stuff like that, and then we're going to invite Hema into the live. But I hope that we all are doing well. I know that a lot of persons probably just monitoring the situation right now in the country with the whole COVID and the quarantine, but that's fine. So you all can just, say how you all doing. How was your week? How was your Sunday? It's fine. You could drop it in the comments. It's okay. But we just want to make sure that we're going to have a lot of fun in the nest as usual. And it's actually the beginning of Golden Eagle's anniversary month. Yes, because it's going to be 8 years this year. And we're going to start the ball rolling as we open the curtains on for interviews with Heerah tonight. So it's a celebration all month long, and we're opening with In the Nest tonight. So we'll just wait for others to just sign in, and then we're gonna bring Hema in. So I hope you all are doing well. I am very excited. Oh, someone says I had an awesome Sunday. I had an awesome Sunday as well. So if you had an awesome Sunday, it's fine. If you didn't have an awesome Sunday, that's okay. You can still tell us that's okay. Right, so we have DJ Crystal on the live. Good night. So we're definitely gonna turn up. We have Nigella. Hi, Nigella. It was so amazing with you yesterday. Right, so Crystal said we're gonna have a social distance party. Yes, so we're gonna have a lot of fun. We have Wendell. Hi, Wendell. Welcome to Golden Eagle. Welcome to In the Nest. Again, as I say, it's the beginning of Golden Eagle's anniversary month. It's a bunch of celebrations, and we're so happy to just open the curtains tonight with our interview with Hema. Yes, social distance party. Yes, yesterday was good. So guys, we're gonna just keep the live rolling, keep reminding your friends, share the live, share it in person's DMs, keep letting persons know that this is what we're gonna do. We're so excited. And we have him on the live, so we're telling him a good night. We're going to join her in shortly. You're just going to wait for a little bit more persons to come in, and I'm going to dive right in. But by the time, I'm just going to bring her in one time. So we're just going to wait for her to sign in, and we're going to have so much fun tonight.
Hi.
Hi, Hema. How are you?
I'm a little nervous, but I'm good. How are you?
Nervous, but you can never be nervous. You look so beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. We have the beautiful Heerah Ramkissoon on the live. There's no nervousness here.
Okay, so I'll take a deep breath, and so it's all good.
That's fine. So how are you? How was your day?
It was good. I'm kind of in between. I've recently started a new job, a new journey. So my weekends are kind of filled with adjusting and learning as much as I can learn about the space, the life, and also because everything has just happened to change what you're accustomed to. Yes. On weekends, I am horrible at domestic chores. So I try to make up some semblance of domestication, if that's a thing, over the weekend. So on Sundays, I try to do that.
Okay, well, that's fine. But the thing about it, I think the main thing is that even this weekend, you look beautiful and you look like you're ready for an Instagram live. And that's the most important thing in the nest tonight. So we're going to dive in some fun questions at first, and however the conversation it swings, right? So I must say that you look like a beautiful flower garden right now. So that makes me think about colors. What is your favorite color?
Believe it or not, let me be honest, I tend to like pastels and whites. Which is a huge contradiction. When I was growing up, I would always gravitate to darker colors because I think most women gravitate when you feel as though you need to look like 10 pounds lighter, or you feel as though,
That's true. I'm guilty with that too.
So, but I think as I got older and I sort of embraced myself and my body and the uniqueness of it,
Yes.
that I started to gravitate. So if you ask me, I would tell you it's things very pastel shades, like pink, like
Like
blues.
what you're wearing now,
Yeah,
pretty colors. Yes.
yeah. I would
That's
do that.
nice. And when you think about music, what kind of music do you like? What's your favorite type of music?
Let me see. So it depends on the mood and the day. So, because
Right.
I really
True, true.
can't
That's
say,
me. Hmm.
yeah, so I can't say that I will always gravitate to something. I'm actually in a very new space because of I am exposed to the younger generation. So they're introducing me to Trini dancehall music. So I felt
Okay,
like a
nice.
dinosaur. Yeah, completely. I really felt that, and funny enough, I'm actually liking it. I didn't think I would, but I'm trying to
But
get my
that's so funny.
cool.
That's so interesting to do. You have a favorite song you want to share or not?
I don't want to say the wrong name because
Okay,
I'm still
okay,
learning the
sure.
lingo.
What is
But
that?
I,
Hmm.
I'm still learning the lingo. But I can always
Yes.
tell you, I would always go to a soca. Honestly, if you
So,
ask me,
hmm.
yeah, I will always go. So when I'm having the worst day and I go to exercise or I try to get some work done, I
Hmm.
will always put on. I think nothing represents us more than the words and the beats and all of that, just fusion that
Yes,
just comes together
yes.
with that.
And that's like definitely Trini. That's definitely everybody have a soca soul. So I know everybody loves their soca as well. So let's dive in a little bit more. So we know that persons, we chat a lot, we do our WhatsApp, our Instagrams and stuff. And sometimes we don't want to use words, so we end up using emojis. What is your favorite emoji?
I always, sadly enough, I always do a heart. So, and
Oh
it's so
gosh, me
inappropriate because
too.
yeah, no,
Yes, me
I,
too.
and I do it to the weirdest people. So I would, like, my new boss would say, "Hey, well, good, let's do," and I would send a heart
And you
emoji, and I'm like, no, 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 no. And it's weird because I always gravitate. I don't know because it's pink, because it's whatever. I always do the heart with the stars on it.
yes. Oh,
So
yes,
I'm
that
learning.
one with the little sparkle. That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. But I
So
do the
I'm
heart, and the exact thing that you just said, sometimes you send it to the wrong persons, and you're like, whew, I hope they just understand. Okay, just giving you love there is not anything inappropriate. So I can definitely relate to that. That's fine. Okay, so moving along and more fun questions. So we know that in quarantine, a lot of persons was just gravitating more to Netflix.
yeah.
What would you say is your favorite Netflix series and why?
What did I look at? And they vary so much. So I actually I love Billions. Let me tell you, I do. There's something about Billions that I
Oh,
love.
that's my favorite. Ladies and gentlemen, Hema, 100
Yeah,
points. That's one of my favorites too. I love Billions. Love, 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 love.
and I really like Blacklist as well.
Blacklist. I didn't see it
I
yet.
look
It's
at
on
that.
my mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and now which is very weird. I feel it's because of the old Mr. Mean coming on.
Yes.
I've been looking at is it Chesapeake Peak? I think recently it's a Hallmark
Okay.
a series that
I
it's
think
one
that
of
one
those.
sounds familiar. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's one of those with a very predictable, soft storyline that there's not too much thinking in it, and you kind of when you need to unwind. I've been looking at that a lot, but one of my favorites on Netflix would definitely have to be Homeland. I was obsessed with that
Okay,
for
okay,
like,
Homeland. Yes. Okay, that's nice. That sounds nice. So we're kind of going now. And what would you say is like your favorite food, especially today being a Sunday? What is like the typical favorite Sunday lunch for Hema?
you know, it's very strange, and I'm being 100% honest. I don't believe like I can't be any other way. I'm one of those people. If I lie, it will show all over my face.
Okay,
So
that's fine.
I have always been. I've had a love-hate relationship with food, and I'm trying to explain it in a very
Okay,
real way.
okay. Mm-hmm.
One because I do a lot of advocacy work for healthy living and for
Right.
life and
Yes,
for
I know.
diabetes. I've also struggled with my weight and body imaging and understanding and learning my life and learning myself. So I always would restrict myself from actually really enjoying food. You know how some people they like my boyfriend, for example, I feel to eat this and I feel to eat that. But there are two things that I really love, and I would confess, I really love fried wontons and I really love pizza. So
Okay.
whenever I have to have a treat, it's one of the two.
It's one of the two, yeah. But I mean, some of the things I just said was like really, really serious there in terms of like how you feel about in terms of your diet and food and stuff like that. So what would you tell persons who's probably on the line and stuff who is probably struggling with that in terms of like with their self, their body image and with food? What would you say to help them through that?
It took me a really long time and a lot of healing. And I think it's because and now life is changing. I think women have become more vocal and more empowered, and we are supporting each other a lot more, as opposed to this sort of drag that a woman who doesn't fit into what previously would have been considered a model type person, body type, skin type, hair type, because I have, and all of these things, we all suffer with acceptance. But there is nothing, and that road to acceptance is sometimes a long, painful one. Mine was very long. I think it's only after I turned 35 and after that that I sort of accepted that this is me and this is the only me that I have. And you really have to look at yourself and speak to yourself. And I think a lot of times the way we speak to ourselves really does impact how we view ourselves.
Yeah.
So I used to look at myself like, oh my God, look at this, look at that. But it's when you look at yourself and you think, I am created by God and Jesus Christ created me in the most perfect way to come here, and you see yourself as this daughter of a king. And I know it sounds very cliche, and I'm kind of, but I think it was my acceptance and my road to that, and accepting the way God sees me, that I was able to accept that one.
And that's so true. And I think what's powerful as well is that you didn't only stress on self-love, but you also stress on the journey of seeing your acceptance through Christ. And that's important, because a lot of the times we only remain in that self-love, but forget, okay, we also have to see ourselves like how God sees us. And that's so important. So as we go and we talk about journey and stuff like that, what are some of your memorable childhood moments?
There are many stories in my childhood. I grew up, but my sisters were always very close. And I was a real tomboy growing up, believe it or not. I don't think many people would believe that.
Nice.
I would climb trees, bust my tail, falling down from the top. And I remember it's not a good memory, but it kind of just shows selfless sibling love. And I'll probably say this, and I'm gonna not cry.
Oh, that's fine. That's okay. Safe space for the best.
I have two younger sisters. And birthdays are always a very emotional thing for me. I've never been one of those who could say I get happy. I'm naturally very much in touch with my emotions, and I always see it as a very reflective, like those moments. And as I said, I went through a long journey of self-acceptance, and I was turning 18, and I didn't want to do anything. I really did not. And I know this is not like a childhood thing, but it's just something that I've always stick in my heart.
Understand.
And my sister at that time, a glass fell, and it fell in and broke. She actually cut her toe really, really badly. And she didn't tell me because she wanted to take me for dinner and make sure that I had enjoyed my birthday.
Yeah.
And literally, when I came home and she took off her shoes, it was covered in blood, and I freaked out. And she said to me that, I know you're always so sad on your birthday. I just wanted you to have a good birthday. And
yeah, that was so sweet, Mom.
Yeah, like I always, if I think of my childhood, I think of my sisters just giving a lot to make sure that we because my parents worked a lot.
Okay.
So they were around, but they were not around, and they did their best. And I think as you get older, you understand these conditions of life and economic realities. But growing up, it was literally always my sisters and I kind of stick together and rough it out and teach each other things, But if I think about a memory all the time, I would go to that to just kind of show this sort of selfless love that they have.
And that's beautiful, because I think all of that probably contributed to who you are today in terms of the love that you give and stuff like that. But what is your birth order? Is how many sisters?
I'm actually the oldest, and I have
so you're firstborn. Okay.
I have a second sister. We're all very different, believe it or not. I have a second sister who is the most pragmatic, least emotional person you'll ever know. Unlike me, I cry for everything. I speak for everything.
Yes.
And then I have a younger sister who is 6 years younger than I am, and she is as dramatic as they come.
Yes.
She's one of those over the top. So, but we're all very different.
Okay, nice. you said that you're a firstborn. Like, did you see that being like a great responsibility? Because sometimes it could be kind of like, I'm a firstborn, so
Yeah.
I take that role very, very seriously, and sometimes like the responsibility will be a lot, but it's still enjoying. Did you see it more as like a burden or more as really a privilege?
I felt I feel now it's a little burdensome because a lot of things fall to me. A lot of serious decisions fall to me. Things that sometimes growing up, I don't think I understood it because, believe it or not, my second sister was sort of the protector. She was the one who would do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I think in that role of me accepting myself and then accepting the rules that I have in life and being more, I think, considerate that this is my responsibility and these are the things that I have to do. Um, I feel the responsibility a lot more now than I did growing up, understanding that my life is an example. It is what they will follow. It is their litmus test for doing that.
Yeah, and that's beautiful, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's amazing that you can see, like we could see that, because I'm sure I have a lot of persons here on the live who is firstborn and who have a great responsibility, or even find themselves as the last child, or in between, or not even understanding. Sometimes a lot of siblings don't understand the role of a firstborn, and now with you bringing that in life, now they understand the great responsibility and how much we love our younger siblings. So Hema, everybody remembers you and knows you for being the face of Morning Brew and CNC Brew over all those years. And now we know that's a shift, and we'll touch on that a little later. But what is one of your most funniest moments on Morning Brew?
Oh, I had so many. There were so many bloopers. There were moments when I thought, oh my God. And 10 years is a long time. 10 years is a long time to think about
Yes.
something. I mean, there are moments they brought a snake on set and I probably had a panic attack and almost died because I'm
Oh
so
my
afraid of
gosh.
snakes. And they didn't
You
think
didn't
I
know
was,
the snake was coming.
no, because they thought I think they just kind of thought that I was exaggerating and that I was not as afraid as I should. But I swear I probably said curse words that came out
Yeah.
because when it
Yeah.
came, I was like, oh my God, da, 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 da. And it was like, yeah. That was one.
Yeah,
There
that
was
was
one I can't remember, but the mic was on during a break, and I said something about an interview that just finished, and I was like, I had to
oh
send a
my
long
God,
apology to the
yes.
person, yeah, to tell them I'm really sorry, and what do you say? What do you
Oh,
really
yeah,
say?
that one was hard. No, I think I still processing that one. That
Yeah,
probably when you could have probably died. It's be like doomed at that
yeah.
moment.
Yeah. It was literally because we just ended and I didn't realize, I learned at that time a mic is always hot when you're on television. So you never ever, unless you take it off, it's gone. And I literally, I don't know what it was, youth and whatever. And I don't, God forgive me for these things because at that time, you're young, you're arrogant and
Right,
you
right.
have,
I
yeah.
understand. Yeah, that's fine.
And I literally said, I'm not even going to repeat what I said.
Yeah, no,
But
that's okay.
yeah, and then the director told me, oh my God, the mic is on. I literally wanted to drop dead on
Yeah,
set. And when they came back on the camera, I thought I probably was flushed. I looked like I was going to faint. And after the show, I knew the person probably heard, so I called and apologized.
but that was sweet, and that's the aftermath. But the thing about it is that happened, so you could have had an answer for a question like this moving forward on an Instagram live. So let's look at it like that.
True.
True. So, what do you think was one of your most challenging interviews? Like, who do you think was the most challenging person for you to interview?
I think I've had a lot over the years, but I feel like those that I put a lot of pressure, because I am a perfectionist, and whatever I do, I try to know, and I think that's the one thing that I've learned in life: be prepared. And maybe coming down to the end with Mia Motley when she actually agreed to do that interview because she'd never done a one-on-one interview with anybody in Trinidad, and just I kind of knew a contact who knew a contact, and I pursued it for 6 months, and she finally said yes. It was her final. It literally, God has perfect timing because I remember
Yes.
joking and saying, God, you have to make sure that I end on a high note. And
Yes.
I laughed. I mean, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I thought I said, God, you have to give me something to
No,
go
that's
with,
understood. Yeah, because
go with like,
it was a big
yeah,
6 month when it came out. Yes.
yeah. I was like, you have to make me like have a drop mic moment. And I remember laughing and saying that. And then she said yes. I did not sleep for 2.5 days,
Wow,
just
Hema.
prepping for it. because she has a huge team, but it was her final interview as CARICOM chair. It was her first interview at Trinidad. It was all of these things just kind of thrown into one, and and that kind of comes quickly to mind. Difficult people would always be politicians. They try to dominate.
Yes.
And you kind of, and when I was younger, as I said, like after I turned 35, I think I embraced my power as a woman.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And
Powerful.
but when I was younger, a lot of times you would find people tend to talk down on people, and they tend to not be respectful and respect the space that you're in. Because
Right.
when we're in this space, I respect you, you respect me. And a lot of times I would have allowed that line to be a little blurred. And I feel as if I were to tell my younger self something, would be stand up for yourself, not be disrespectful, not be rude, but demand the respect that comes with the space. So wherever you are, particularly for women, because we tend to be intimidated by positions and power and age.
Correct. Hmm.
Because I remember when I first got that show, I was 22 the first time around.
Hmm.
And I remember a politician saying, "Who's this little girl questioning me?"
Hmm.
And that's what he said to me on air. And
Live on air. Hmm.
yeah, and I should have responded, but I cowered into a corner because
Yes.
sometimes we are shamed into being quiet. And I feel that we shouldn't, you should never, don't be disrespectful, don't be arrogant, because I feel that's something that people tend to blur lines. Now, social media can be such a place of love, but such a place of hate, where the
Correct.
people with the loudest voices sow seeds of discontent in our population. But um, I feel like those things, like politicians are people who kind of would test you on that one.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think that really spoke to me a lot too, because a lot of the times people take for granted our personality. So like,
Yeah,
for instance, personally, people will think, okay, yeah, Ghenere, she has a lot of personality, she could do this, she could do that. But I'd have times that I would kind of like go straight into a shell because of like confronting situations. So
yeah,
like right there and then when you spoke about with him saying that, I think I might have reacted the same way, because at that moment you don't want to be disrespectful or you don't
yeah,
want to be a certain way. But how you said like you went into that becoming journey straight in, and then you realized that it was time for you to do so. And
yeah,
I think what's so beautiful is that a lot of the times people try to rush to learn something very early, and
yeah.
the truth is that you learned it at the right time, and even like just branching up. So I think that definitely was amazing.
I think the journey for self-acceptance for women in particular, sometimes it takes a lot longer.
Mhm.
And when you do it in a very public space, it's very difficult. And I now rely a lot more on my faith than I've ever done. I mean, I mentioned earlier about my struggles with me and accepting me, but I think, it's once you know your relationship with God, and once you know that who shall I fear
Mhm.
once God is with me, and I
Correct.
I I remember the day that I felt that, like I truly have seen God move in my life. I've seen things happen in my life that I know it's only, and it is, I can't profess to be the most perfect Christian out there. So I have my moments where I'm like,
Yeah,
no, you should not say.
we all. It's a
Yeah,
continuous journey. We'll never
yeah.
reach it. Every day we'll learn. Mhm.
But I feel like sometimes my biggest prayer every day is for discernment and grace under everything, to always be graceful and have the power to discern everything in my space.
Yeah, and when you speak about discernment, discernment comes with choices, and
Yeah.
discernment comes with options, and discernment comes with new seasons, like where you are today. How was that transition in terms of deciding it's time?
I remember when I first left the media, because this is I think the third time I'm probably leaving. Yeah, this is the third time. Um, 3 years ago, I kind of realized I needed to change, because I felt you make a list of things for your life, and that's one thing I learned, holding yourself accountable to these
Right.
things. Um, and after my father passed away, I remember having this conversation with him, and he said, "Are you going to stay on TV forever? What are you going to do?" And he said, "Do you no longer enjoy it?" And I said, "No, I no longer enjoy it." I felt to my own self, because I was on a very spiritual journey trying to find myself and find my path. And it was very strange knowing the murder tool off the top of my mind and knowing all the negative things. And it was just no longer a space that sort of enhanced me and made me do the things that I wanted to do or help people in a way that I thought I was constructively creating or assisting people. And so I made a decision 3 years ago when I was doing the show that we would have segments showing NGOs and community groups and helping people.
Nice.
But I also 3 years ago made a plan
Mm-hmm.
because I thought to myself, I didn't want to continue doing that. I didn't want to continue being in a space where there was so much craziness. I
Right.
didn't no longer was learning. I no longer was being challenged. I have to say that I am forever grateful, CNC3 and the family. Like that was the hardest thing for me to do. Like leaving took
So
so much out of me. It broke my heart if there ever was a moment. And I understood it was very weird. I could say that it broke my heart to leave because you feel as though you're leaving parts of you. But you can't, when you become too comfortable, complacent, you no longer are in alignment with your goals, you're no longer in alignment with the person you want to be. And the person that I am today, as I approach 40, is not the person I was when I was 30. It's not a person I was when I was 21. And you just kind of set your life and you know different things. Things are changing in your life and you change.
And I think the whole fact of even having a time, like a plan, is important because even like a small conversation with your dad allowed you to even realize, okay, that's what's happening. And a lot of the times we only realize things, or we come into face with certain things when it is we do have that conversation, or we do have that um that that introspection within ourselves. And I think that's beautiful, not only knowing, okay, it was time for you to go, but that honesty within that safe space with him. And I think that says a lot about your relationship, and it also says a lot about the mind that you have in terms of you didn't just jump in there, you also made a plan before.
I
Before
did, and
this.
it's very important having a plan and holding yourself accountable, because I knew um, I hired a coach, I had,
Okay.
I had a mentor, and I sat and they guided me through that. They guided me through the uncomfortableness of shedding things that I needed to shed,
Okay.
of making sacrifices, to do additional courses in the night, to get leadership training, to
Yeah.
do that, and learning from people around me, and also understanding how important the people around you are. They really must
The
build
value
you,
in person.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and they must be in alignment with where you are going. I talk a lot about my faith. So if the people around me are not talking about things that are important to me, about how am I bettering myself, how are we bettering ourselves, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, society, everybody has their moments where you bitch and you fall off your values, but um, I also understand the importance of having people around you who support your vision and
Yeah.
support you, and it's really important. I made many mistakes in my life, and in that journey, I also learned to forgive yourself and to build from them, and that's just what you have to do.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. And I think, Hema, what's standing out in terms of like every season and every story that you share is that self-awareness. And I think that's so important. And I know that, I mean, it's two females speaking, guys, and I know there's a lot of men on the live as well, but it's
Yeah,
also important for them to have self-awareness within themselves and their circle and the things that they allow within their space. When you spoke about the persons that are in their space and in terms of their goal and their mind is so important with our next season.
yeah.
And so as we kind of draw the curtains, we're going to draw the curtains soon. We're going to kind of wrap up on the live. What is your advice to someone at this moment in the season, in our season, in our life, in the world? There's a lot of uncertainty.
Mhm.
So I know a lot of persons is looking like probably what's the next step. A lot of persons are probably entering new seasons or waiting for that call and stuff like that. What is your advice knowing that now you're in a whole new world, a whole new world?
Always be prepared. Like I have learned that every piece of work is a reflection of who you are. Don't ever doubt yourself because we're in a world of doubters. We're in a world where it's so easy to criticize people. We're in a world where it's so easy to drag people. We're in a world where we don't empower people enough, and I I hold myself accountable not just for my actions and for my words, but for the words that come out, because you can't have a voice of ignorance and hate and expect beauty and greatness. You just can't. You can't do that. And if I have, there's so many things I wish I could tell the younger me. I could tell people, forgive yourself and be kind to yourself. Write down and learn. Write every single time that you get into a task, give it or your all, even if you have to work 3 hours into the morning. I have now entered a new space, and I remember praying so hard, and it was the most difficult interview process I ever had. It was 7 interviews.
Wow.
7, not 1, not 2, 7. There were case studies, exams, scenario plannings, and I talk about the importance of having people around you who help you. So know that if you need help, have people around you who can help you. So when I decided 3 years ago I needed to do this, I had a good team. I had a good team who became my family, and some of them,
Yes.
and I can't have, it's weird. I cannot say these conversations without mentioning Christopher Fair. I have to, because,
Of course, yes, definitely.
and it's very strange that I do that, because I don't think I've ever said how much in my life. I'm going to not cry. He has assisted me in my journey, and I remember when I came to him and I said I want to leave media, and I made a plan with him, and there were so many things I had to work on with myself, including going to counseling,
Yeah.
including finishing off chapters of my life that I left,
Yeah, correct.
yeah, hanging, including getting rid of things in my life. And it is very important to have a vision for yourself. It is also very important to pray. It is very important to have a solid relationship with the Lord in whatever form. I can say that I accepted Christ 3 years ago. And that is now the person I am now. Is not the person I was 3 years ago. It's not the person I was 5 years ago. And know that you are not the same person. So the things that you do today is not going to be the things that you do 100 years from now, or even 50 years from now. And remind yourself, constantly compare yourself to that vision, but have that vision and keep chasing it every single day. I remember when I was at CNC3, my days were 16 and 17 hour long days
So
sometimes.
long,
It was
Hema.
crazy. And I would come home and I would be frustrated, and I would be frustrated because the things that I had wanted to do for myself, I couldn't do it. The books that I wanted to read, the way that I wanted to shape my life, I couldn't do it, because you just give so much to something else.
And you were
And
restricted, yeah.
yeah, but that I understood that in the end, that came with that responsibility, that came with that time. So everything has a season. So sometimes it's your season to work on other goals, and other times it's your season to work on your goals.
Yes.
But every time there must be growth. So if you no longer feel like you're growing, then you have to stop doing. Every time that you do,
Exactly, yeah. Oh boy.
you do. And I know that was a lot, and I just trying to condense all of it, because
No,
there's
it's
so
fine.
many things that I wish I could share to younger me and to young women out there, particularly about working hard and not being frustrated, and always being grateful.
Yeah.
Because even when I would be irritated and I would think I'm not getting the praise that I deserve, and I'm being unfairly attacked and I'm being unfairly treated, I've learned the power of God's timing is absolutely perfect. 3 years ago, I used to jump at every interview that I got to get at the job. I applied for 100 jobs, literally.
Wow,
And
look at that.
it's crazy. And I just be patient in building yourself, because your life is a series of building blocks. And now I understood when I finally left CNC3, which was something that broke, as I mentioned, I compare it to like a heartbreak. I kind of thought all of these opportunities then opened itself for me, including having an opportunity to take up a scholarship at the end of 2021. So sometimes you never know where your life will take you.
No.
Sometimes you never know what is out there. Sometimes you never, unless you take that risk, you never ever know. And it is scary. And I remember the day that I resigned. I sat down and I spoke to my pastor and I said, I don't know if I can do this. I had a practical panic attack. And he said, you can do this, because God wants you to do this. And I remember praying and reading the book of Daniel at that time, and understanding that I will get the answer. And
Yes.
it came.
Yes. and that will be confirmation. And I mean, Hema is so beautiful because I mean we're in similar, you know, seasons, and I think as though sometimes God orchestrates certain conversations for certain timings. And I think a lot of persons here could even relate to that, that some of the things that you definitely said, you know, that God works in perfect timing. God is never shows up on time. And he prepared you for our next season because you were being prepared for that. You know, you were
and you know,
prepared for that.
it's weird that I didn't know it at the time. And I can tell you, even I was just so, you know, sometimes we're so hard on ourselves because you set these goals and you want to achieve it. And it's like, why is it not happening? And why am I not doing this? And I would jump at every opportunity. And I kid you not, every interview that called me, I mean, every opportunity, from things that I knew would require a lot of working and math that I hate, to everything that came on my plate. And because sometimes you didn't do the work on yourself. And I feel unless you don't stop and be patient and do all the work on yourself, and when you are ready, when you are truly ready for that, it just happens. You come up and and the challenges that, you know, because I remember all of the learning experiences that I had leading a team, and understanding how important it was to be present in that team, and all of the things that I learned about navigating personalities and being patient and being kind and being empathetic. Those are the things that now I'm able to use. Now, you know, it's so strange when a younger member of my team came to me and said, "You inspire me," because I had a conversation with her about 2 books, and she's at the stage where she's finishing her master's. And she was telling me about a book she was reading because she couldn't understand corporate culture. And I said, you know, you don't have to do that. You have to understand yourself. And I told her about the books that I read. And, you know, and I sat down on that Friday evening and I thought, God really does prepare you for the things in your next chapter.
And I think that even sums up not only the person that you are, but the leader that you are. And I think in order to be a leader, I always say this, and it's some of my conversations, I say when you're in order to be a leader, I mean, it really doesn't matter about brand, it doesn't matter about authority and dominating, it's really to be a servant. And I think you served your team. And by you serving your team during that time, now it's just coming automatic. That's why, but you talking to her, you probably didn't even talk to her like in a leading aspect. You spoke to her just as a conversation because that's where you are and that's who you are, you know, and I think that's important.
I feel like we have to listen more and pay attention to people, you know, like a lot of times we don't really hear people, you know, we don't take a moment, and we're losing our humanity, and we're in the midst of this madness that is an election, and we have to live here together on the 11th of August, you know. So listen, you know, take a moment and listen, take off the rose-colored glasses that you have, whatever they may be, you know, but we really do have to listen to what people are saying, you know, because sometimes I feel all of the things that happens in our country all start from not being able to listen properly, not being able to understand the cause, not being able to understand the people and what they want. You know, I look at people being so angry and upset, and it is because they just feel unloved, or they feel not
feel like they're being heard or even seen. Yeah, and that's true. So as we kind of draw the curtains, and I could talk on and on because I'll be so sick. I forget that we were on a live, right? I just really thought I was having a conversation because you all know how much I just enjoy these kind of conversations, and it's so amazing when you can have conversations and also have persons kind of tune into what it is. So at this moment, we're going to open the floor a little bit to just get some one or two questions if you all would like to get find out some stuff about Hema. We have some persons saying thank you, Hema, for being a leader, an advocate, and an inspiration, servant leadership. A lot of people saying he is an on-time God. God is all the time on time, very relatable. Okay, so if you all have any questions, now is the time before we kind of wrap up. So we'll kind of wait on that a little bit. Any questions or any things that you would like to tell Hema, or even with her experience in media and, you know, transitioning into just heavy corporate now, like total corporate, you all want to ask any questions and stuff like that? Hi, Hema.
I want to thank everybody. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I want to thank every single body for it. You know, because when you do that, you're like, I wonder if anybody's going to come in. I wonder if anybody's going to listen, you know. But thank you for, you know, making the time to have this moment, you know. And it is, I feel sometimes if people share their honest, real stories, that we can hopefully tell everybody it'll be okay, you know. and it's a work in progress. I am in no way a litmus test or a blueprint, but if from my mistakes someone can be assisted in any way,
Yeah.
you know, I hope that.
Someone said, what subject did you study in university?
Oh, my first degree is sociology and human resource management, and then after I went and did my
Okay.
EMBA. And I think that kind of broadened it. And then between all of that, I did leadership courses. I did courses on team building. I did
Okay.
courses on artificial intelligence and understanding the impact on marketing.
Okay,
And
nice.
yeah, I and always invest in yourself, because I remember one of the things that I would do is kind of go online and look at what
Oh, true.
was,
That's
yeah, what is the trends, and so I understand. I remember reaching out, and that's why you need people. I remember reaching out to Renee Cummings, who was kind of making her name in this world of AI. And she said, what do you want to do? And I said, I think I need to jump on this and learn about it. And she said to me, my phone is going to die in a couple of times, but
okay,
she
that's
said
fine.
to me,
Yeah.
learn that. And I remember signing up and doing all these online courses, which were outside all of that, on the impact that data analytics will have in the way that we interpret the impact of psychology on communications and marketing, the impact of
Yeah.
artificial
Oh,
intelligence.
those topics. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is, use your time wisely and read. I read books all the time on things in industries that I want to learn. So, if you're preparing for a role and you see yourself in that role, prepare for that role. Do that and learn about it. Learn every single thing that you can learn about it.
And that's true. That's important. So I know a lot of persons ask about the advice into media, but you could link what you just said definitely when you're going into media, educate yourselves in the field and stuff like that. So Golden Eagle extends their gratitude. They said they thoroughly enjoyed the convo and greatly appreciate the advice and best wishes to you and everyone else said yes. So any last closing words before we end the live?
I know somebody asked me about my favorite book, and I'm going to tell you, Kimberly, believe it or not, my favorite book would be anything by Malcolm Gladwell. I think he's changed my perspective, and it's very weird because most people expect it to be novels, and I can say the usuals, but I think it changed my perspective on the way people interact. And I remember specifically, there are books that you read at different points in your life that change the way you are. And I read the book Talking to Strangers, and it taught me the way that we judge people incorrectly. It shows me a way that we don't allow people to be themselves, but we have these preconceived notions of who they are, and that changed who I was. Another one is a book called Daring Greatly.
That's good. I'm reading that right now.
Yeah, and it talks about vulnerability, and me being so honest with you about me being so honest about where I am and how my journey was, is really about embracing vulnerability and taking shame away. My favorite quote would always be, "This too shall pass." If something, and I think sometimes we become so obsessed with moments of disappointment and moments of shame and just moments and moments, but this too shall pass. And I think every time that you think that, and also, if God is with me, who shall I fear?
Yeah. Who shall you fear? Definitely. Okay, well, thank you so much, Hema. It was beautiful. This conversation was beautiful. It really did feel like a nest, just such a safe space here tonight. And we want to thank you so much for signing in. And I know that we will definitely keep in touch. We will, but persons will continue to keep updated. A lot of persons said they were going to be updated with you on your social media, and Hema will post on all these different things. And you're open as well for giving advice, so they can always send you a message, correct?
They can,
Yes.
And I know it's funny, somebody asked what I'm reading now. I'm reading a book called Influence, which is kind of in alignment with my new role. And I always read things, as I said, to prepare you for the next level. So I'm reading this book called Influence. I forgot the name of the author, but it is just about, again, human interactions and how you become a better human being.
Okay, nice. Okay, so thank you so much. Okay, bye everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, no problem. Okay, bye everyone. So we hope that you enjoyed in the nest today with Hema. It was a beautiful conversation. So again, it's Golden Eagle's anniversary celebration of 8 years this month. So right now, it's just the beginning. So imagine if that was just the beginning, what else is Golden Eagle having store for you this month? So keep it locked right here and keep watching this space. Again, my name is Heerah, and it was a pleasure entertaining you and diving in conversation with Hema tonight in the nest. Bye.